here to number 4. It says, all sections of the Illuminati, Frankists and fellow revolutionaries of future generations, must cooperate fully to promote and enhance the career advancement of the Biblical Destruction Group, the Apocrypha, in the Authorized King James Version. According to the book To Eliminate the Opiate, out of print by Rabbi Antelman, the Illuminati formed a committee entitled the Biblical Destruction Group in 1776. This committee disbanded 50 years later. In 1826, the Apocrypha, 14 books of the Bible, was removed from the Protestant edition of the King James Bible. What were in these books that the Illuminati had to keep from the average person? What truths had to be hidden, and particularly in the United States? So see, these devils know that there was a lot of information in the Apocrypha that was vital to knowing what the end times entailed, and it also spoke about America and its destruction. BDG. Now this Biblical Destruction Group, they were set up in 1776 when the Illuminati was set up, and supposedly they were disbanded 50 years later. But the only thing that was disbanded was the name, because the people were they still were continuing on in their quest. So the Biblical Destruction Group as a name, because it's nothing but a corporation, just like Macy's or J.C. Penney, they'll go out of business, but then they'll come back under a different name. And that's all that they did, because all Esau does is go from one corporation to the next. Just he'll do so much damage with one corporation and move on to another corporation. Just like America. America's a corporation. They did their damage, then they go under a different name. So this Biblical Destruction Group was started in 1776 during the birth and creation of the Illuminati, and then they were disbanded. This particular group was disbanded 50 years later, but they just went under different names. And in 50 years later, in 1826, that's when they took the Apocrypha out of the Bible. Okay, and should apply pressure where necessary towards that advancement. BDG, or the Biblical Destruction Group, must be self-perpetuating. Every member must produce at least one replacement for himself in his lifetime. In other words, in case anything happened to this guy, somebody had to be, at least one other person had to be trained in what they were doing in their goals. Number 6, all media at the disposal of revolutionaries must be rallied to disseminate propaganda issued by any member of the BDG, or the Biblical Destruction Group. Number 7, people who are not members of the BDG but who seem to show an interest in pursuing anti-Bible thought should be encouraged without even their knowledge and catapulted into important positions. This will strengthen the BDG at any time in history. So that's what they've been doing for the last since 1776, and really before that. But the so-called Illuminati that's known today, the Bavarian faction of it anyway, was started in Germany in 1776, which was May 1st through Adam Weishaupt, which was given, money and orders by the Rothschild to set that group up. It said, as time goes on, those who accept the views that are fostered by the BDG should be in a position strong enough to destroy any academician or intellectuals who do not conform to their ideas. And that's why they do the things that they do. And anybody that comes against them, you better believe that they put them to death. Alright, now, since we hit that point, right, I want to show you, brothers, something else. When you go, see, because they systematically took the Apocrypha out of the King James Version of the Bible in 1829. 1826, I'm sorry. Now, the Spanish version of the Bible, which is called Casiodura Valera, right? The 1500s and the 1600s is when this version of the Bible came to be. I believe it was 1569, and then there was a revision in 1602. Yeah, this is the Bible translation, Spanish, from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. And this is the Bible here, Reina Valera translation. The classic Spanish translation of the Bible is that of Casiodura de Reina, revised by Cipriano de Valera. It was for the use of the incipient Protestant movement and widely regarded as a Spanish equivalent of the Authorized Version. The first whole Bible in Spanish was printed in Basel in 1569, authored by Casiodoro de Reina. Although some think that the Bible was a collective effort of some monks of the San Isidoro community in Spain who led by Cazadora de Reina escaped inquisition and persecution. This was the first version of the complete Bible in Spanish, including Apocrypha, and is known as Biblia del Oso because of the honey-eating bear on its title page. Reina presented the University of Brazil with some volumes, one of them with Reina's dedicatory and signature. And this is one of the pages on the see the bear. And there was a Spanish Bible, and they said that the Spanish Bible was a mirror image of the King James Bible. They basically went hand in hand. So they took out the Apocrypha out of the King James Version, the English version, in 1826, and then in 1862 they took out of La Santa Biblia, they took out the Apocrypha. It says a revision of the complete Bible. The revision was made by Dr. Lorenzo Lucena. This was in 1862, a professor at Oxford University. His changes included additional revisions in orthography, and a modernized diction was added. Let me show you this. The Old Testament Apocrypha, which had been placed between the Testaments, was removed. So that's when that was removed. Let me show you that a little closer. Let me go back a little bit. See, the Old Testament Apocrypha, which had been placed between the Testaments, was removed. And this is by a guy named Lorenzo de Lucena. Alright? So that's just to show you how these devils operate. Alright? Now, let's go from there. I have a actual book here. This book right here is called Culture and Society in Habsburg Spain by R.W. Truman and Nigel Griffin. And we know, like I said, we use certain information. It's just we get like little tidbits from this book and that book. You know, we don't read all these books. We just get the vital information that we need. And in this book, on page 196, it says in 1846, SPCK, which SPCK is the Society for Promoting Christian Knowledge. That's an acronym, SPCK. Society for Promoting Christian Knowledge, which was their Christian knowledge, which is their nonsense, you know. But it says in 1846, SPCK asked Lucena, which is the guy we just talked about, to undertake a new version of the New Testament in Spanish, to replace that of the admittedly liberal Catholic. Torres Amat, Lucena refused, so he didn't want to do that, the New Testament. It says, and the work was entrusted to another Spanish exile, Juan Calderon, who later became professor of Spanish at King's College, London. However, at the time of his appointment to the Taylor Institution, or just after, Lucena did undertake for the SPCK, the Society for Promoting Christian Knowledge. It says Lucena did undertake for the SPCK his most famous, his most famous and long-lasting foray into the revision and editing of Spanish translations of the Bible. This was his textual or modernization from original manuscripts of the complete translation by the Protestant exile Cazadora de Reina. Now that's when you look at those ancient Spanish translation, this is the name you're going to see, Cazadora Valera or Reina de Valera. This is published in Basle in 1569. See, Lucena's version, which incorporated the subsequent revision published in Amsterdam by Cipriano, see this is another name, de Valera, in 1602, was published for SPCK by Oxford University Press 1862, which was the same year, as we said, the same year, 1862, where the Old Testament Apocrypha, which had been placed between the Testaments, was removed by this guy, Dr. Lorenzo Lucena. Alright? So that's the reason why they did that, was because they have a plan, they have an agenda. You know? And now let's go from there, let's go back to Daniel, the 2nd chapter. And the reason why we know about these things is because the Most High is revealing these things to us now, because this is the time to expose Esau. This is the time to bring out all the dirt that this devil has, bring it all out on his ass. Alright, so let's go back to Daniel 2:22. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. Now verse 28. But there is a power in heaven that revealeth secrets. See? So that's the reason why we know the things that we know. Now let's go from there to the book of Second Thessalonians. Second Thessalonians, the